Welcome to NRL 360, rugby league from every angle, brought to you by Regain. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis.
Hey,
Bring the journos in, Paul Crawley and Dean Ritchie and Doggy. You've done it again.
What have I done this time?
Queensland are set to dominate grand final day. This was one of your columns.
Oh, right.
Back
this
in
is
June.
what you were talking about in the green room behind my back. Right. Dark days for the Sunshine Coast. Did you ever happen to think that maybe I inspired Queensland to go to another level of excellence? Because at that very point, they were on their backsides, Gordon.
Were we?
Yes, you were. Look at the percentages.
It's sort of strange. You know how many New South Wales teams you have in the finals this weekend?
New South Wales Cup.
How many?
Warriors.
No. The Warriors won it.
No. You know what? You got one.
Didn't you call them the biggest losers?
You got one. So
was that another article you did?
Dog, I want you to buy a Roosters jersey, go out there and support.
Well, you know what? I won't be supporting Queensland sides because I don't want to support anyone where you came from. Because I don't respect you nor your state.
Wow.
They have been my nemesis for 40 years, that mob up north. And I think the Storm will win. Go the Storm.
NRLW too.
Oh,
NRLW.
Brisbane.
So where's Melbourne?
Victoria. That's down south. You're up north.
Yeah, right.
That's where it says on the map.
to play for, mate?
Melbourne Storm.
Is it bad you can't barrack for anybody from your own
Harry
state?
Grant.
I don't need that, Gordon. Rugby league's the win. Here's another one.
You said in the paper you don't know who to go for. Do you think that New South Wales fans are going to be a bit torn over this one?
I think they will, Braith. I speak to my mates and they're a bit 50-50. A lot of people don't like Melbourne Storm from the old days when they thought they wrestled too much. Success also brings a lot of people to the point where they get a bit exasperated. The Broncos, Queensland, etc. It goes on and on. It'll be split down the middle, but I think more people, will go for the Broncos because of the bloke with green eyes in the number 1 jersey.
I reckon on the contrary. I reckon for the first time in history, the Storm almost go in as the people's team because of the state of Brisbane and the fact that the Origin comes into the equation. I know Storm have got a few Queensland Origin players there. I truly believe most people who don't have their team in it will go for the Storm.
And even though there are no New South Wales teams in the grand final, it is officially sold out. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think it's just the style of footy. The final series, as I mentioned last night, it's the best that I've seen. So if this is any indication of where the finals are at, you think Melbourne and Brisbane.
It's funny you say that though, Gordon.
Should be an unbelievable game of rugby.
Because you played in a great era. Like a lot of old school journos like us go back to that 94 period as I remember that as I look back at that as the best era of rugby league. Yep. And you actually think that the game right now is better than it was at that point?
Well, you look at the Raiders, Brisbane, you look at even like when Penrith played the Bulldogs, that was still an unbelievable day. And just watching Penrith's dominance last Sunday was as good as any game of rugby league.
We said last night it's up there with one of the best final series up to the grand final that we've ever seen. Do you guys agree with that?
And I think that's why, Braith, the crowd is sold out already. Yeah. You might not have your side in there. You might have bought tickets being a Raiders fan or a Panthers fan.
Some other fans will have.
But whoever has missed out, the fan will still go because of the standard. That's what's been
the standard of
the
football in that Raiders-Broncos game really kicked it off, didn't it? And then last Sunday was the same. The Sunday before was the same. It's like the Sunday footy's had a lot to do with it.
I can confirm people are still searching for tickets because everyone's hitting me up, so there's none left. Okay, let's take a look at the grand final teams. Thanks to Sportsbet, and the Melbourne Storm are unchanged. Ryan Pappenhausen at fullback. We're going to go through all of them. Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes in the half. Stefano Utoi Kamanu has lit the fuse. Harry Grant, the captain there. In the number 9 jersey, Josh King, the other front row, and the bench is unchanged for Melbourne. Let's have a look at the Broncos. They have a change because Carrigan comes in, which I'll get to. Reece Walsh, fullback. What a player he has been this year. Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds retain their spots in the halves. Pat Carrigan comes into the team after that suspension, and Ezra Mam is still on the bench after we spoke about it last night, which we'll get to soon. And Tyson Smoothie, he moves back to the bench, and Tolty is the man that is out. Now, Madge holds his nerve with Hunt at 6 and Mam on the bench. Is this the right call?
I think it is. I think, keeping Ezra away, from the first 20 minutes, he come on last week and it worked. They were a little bit tired, Penrith. He started to run the ball and I hated a run and threat in front of me because they were so dangerous. So I think if it worked last week against the defending Premiers, well, why not try it again this week? Because it wasn't broken.
They've come back from 14-0 down in back-to-back finals. And I don't think that they can do it again. I think they need to start fast. I think to beat the Storm, they need to start fast. I would
So
still
what would
be
you have
not
done?
surprised.
What would you have done
I
then?
would have had Ezra in the
starting
six
team.
jumper,
Yeah, right.
and I would have had Ben Hunt in the 9.
You know what?
I think that's their best team.
It's a good point you make. It is a good point. It's hard to keep coming back, and that win would take a lot out of them. Even though that was amazing, and adrenaline, and the fans were pumped, and they've proven to themselves they can come back now, and they've done it so much this year. But it is hard to do it against Melbourne. Very hard to do it against Melbourne.
And especially 3 weeks in a row. And I think that, look, you didn't think Penrith would give up a 14-point lead. But to do it again, I think the Broncos are playing with such belief now that if they can start fast, they're also going to be hard to beat when they're on top.
You'd have to be insane to change your halves between the prelim and the grand final after you've just won a big game.
I just think that's their best team.
It may well be, Crawls, but it's a 17-man game. Ezra was used so effectively off the bench last week, and he will be used effectively again this week. But to change your two halves who have set the standard during the final, in the week of the grand final, would have been madness.
Doggy, I don't disagree with it, but there's an argument definitely to change it. And we just heard it, and it was a good argument. They only won by 2 points. They come from behind.
But it's one interchange.
But Gordon, you say it all the time. It wasn't broken, Brace, so why would you try to change a winning side?
I'm not saying they should. All I'm saying is that there's a fair argument there with the quality of play.
there's an argument.
And I think also, like, let's call it for what Ben Hunt, right, is a pretty good half. He's a great hooker. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
When he plays for the Queensland side, plays 9, mate.
Do you lose punch off the bench, though, if you start Ezra? Because Ezra was so good off the bench last week. You're going to, it's all right to strengthen one area, but you're going to weaken another area.
Of course.
Yeah. It made a difference. I just think from the comeback perspective, to try and do it 3 times in a row, you could see the game change when he came on the
Definitely.
field. The threat that he creates.
Could there be a late switch, you reckon?
No, I think there could be.
You never know. Bulldog, have you spoken to Madge?
No, I haven't spoken to Mads this week, but I don't think he'll change anything, Braith. I think they were so good last week. Yeah. They're on such a high. Yeah. Their spirits are up, their camaraderie's up, they're on a roll. He won't change anything.
Fair call. Now, Patrick Carrigan comes in, Ben Tolte, the one that misses out. This is the obvious one, right? But how good is it that he's back in Carrigan?
Yeah, I think, well, I thought he was going to be really missed, because he's the 1-2 punch with Payne has. But the Broncos forward did a great job. He's probably Brisbane's greatest number 13. So to have someone like that to come back in, big game player, you need him if they want to win.
He is. He's a big game player. Yeah. That's what Pat Carrigan is. He'll make such a difference. You've seen him do it in Origins. He goes on the field and he changes games. I think it's a massive lift for the Broncos.
I know we're going to talk about Haas later in the show, but what about him playing 80 minutes last week, essentially to cover for the loss of Carrigan? Just extraordinary.
Yeah, he is, and we will talk about him later. Thanks, Doggy. Grant Atkins to referee the grand final, and Klein is in the bunker. Is this the right call?
Absolutely. And you know why? It's a reward for a referee who stuck his whistle in his pocket.
Oh, I was getting worried there.
We were going to go with the whistle break. No, I wouldn't go. It's a family show. But last Friday night, Klein, 22 minutes ball in play in that first half down in Melbourne. 18 penalties. I think Ashley Klein butchered his chances of refereeing a grand final. On Sunday, we saw an epic game. This bloke decided to let it flow, a bit like Adam G did in the 2023 grand final. And there's your reward. That's a message, a clear message to all referees. Yes, you've got to pick up infringements, but if you let the game flow and you let it roll along at its own speed, you have a feel for the game and for the occasion, you will referee a first-grade grand final.
Klein blew it week on week. Go back to the Raiders game. The biggest call in that match he got wrong. The following week, look, early in the game, Dylan Edwards, that sin bin when he interfered with kick out, that ticks every single box for a sin bin, yet he chose to ignore it on that occasion. And then in this Cronulla game, the penalties for mine just ruined the game. It was a constant stop-start game. Then you watch the Broncos on Sunday, and admittedly, Atkins didn't get everything right. He got a few wrong. They're probably on the precedent that Klein set in the Canberra game. There should have been a few sin bins there. But I like the fact that he didn't sin bin them. I'd rather watch 13 on 13 and the way this bloke allowed the game to flow.
Do you think this should have been a sin bin?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Look, I know you give it to Buzz last night. I actually thought Cleary or Penrith should have got the penalty there. And I saw what you said, how he got him at the moment. I'll just say, Braith, there's been an overprotection for playmakers this year, and I don't necessarily agree on it, but what we've seen over the course of the season, I reckon that's a penalty more often than
I
not.
think they've got it right at the right time.
Well, look, it's just the consistency factor.
Yeah.
And you know, I had a crack at Cleary being overprotected when they played the Knights, probably about a month ago or so. And he got 2 penalties where there was just incidental contact.
But if they blow the penalty there, right, and it goes against the Broncos, and then we pause this like we did last night, and it shows that he's making contact before he kicks it, or as he's kicking it.
It's the way to go. It's the way to go.
What I'm saying,
but
then
they've got it wrong all year.
Because it was a critical moment, we'd be saying, well, they've got that wrong because we're going to slow it down.
But if he touches his leg, that's the thing. It's a penalty.
Yeah,
But he touches his body.
That's a different rule
I
in
don't
itself.
think
He
that
wrapped
is
his arms around his
match
body
Perfect.
and he went to the
He went
ground,
make
which
a
is what
tackle,
you're supposed to do.
And he got there on time.
That's right.
In the nick of
That's
time.
the rules.
I'm glad there was no Sydney. It's a prelim final, for goodness sake.
Exactly.
It's a preliminary final. And I know you have to be the letter of the law or adjudicate to the letter of the law, but surely in a big game, we can just let a little
you know
thing
what? That's
slide.
been the problem, though,
But
because
that's what
Klein
Atkins did
set
right.
the bloody precedent.
But stuff Klein's precedent.
I know, but
He
that's
doesn't
the
set the precedent.
consistency. The consistency of the competition is why people will look at that and say, well, Liam Martin should have gone, Nathan should have gone.
Fair call.
And I think Atkins,
But I'm glad he did.
most of the time you watch him, the players sort it out. I think the players get a chance to win the game. Sometimes Klein...
Nothing in that.
Just over referees.
You've really picked it up tonight. I'm loving your energy.
It's my last show of the year. I've got nothing to lose, bro.
You got everything to lose.
I'm going out on
All right.
fire.
Now, are you sure about that?
No, absolutely.
Wait, there's a long way to go. Just hold. All right, our Madge debate went viral last night. Crawls, it was with Buzz, of course. You think it's one of the great comebacks?
You don't have to like Michael Maguire, but you have to respect what he's achieved here. Because when he was sacked by the Tigers in 2022, midway through the season, his career was in tatters. His reputation was in tatters. As a future head coach, he was going to struggle to get a job. And of course, that had come on the back of the mail that came out of South Sydney when he was there. But since then, he got handed a lifeline by the Kiwis. He beat Australia 30-0 in that game. He came back, he picked his wall with Billy Slater the following year, and he won New South Wales the Origin Series. And what he's done at Brisbane this year, for all the criticism, the fact that about his hard techniques and the spew buckets and the baseball bats and everything else that goes with Madge, they've come back at the end of the season and won 2 finals games, coming back from 14 points behind. So all the work that he'd done earlier in the season, you just can't deny the fact what he's done. It's like it's an incredible on the cusp of a Grand Slam.
There it is. There's the headline 3 years ago.
You know what, Braith? That's as low as you can go to be dumped by the Tigers, who won 3 wooden spoons. Let's be fair, Nickham. You cannot go any lower. He then flums the New South Wales job, wins the series, and before we know it, he's coaching the biggest rugby league team in Australia into a grand final. It's an extraordinary comeback. It really is. And I know Buzz has been very anti-Madge in terms of army camps and spew buckets, what you talked about. But the fact they've come back from 12 points down in 2 successive games, or is it 14 points,
14
Schools,
on the weekend.
shows you that the hard work that they did pre-season, physically, and the hard work he whacked into them up here.
Don't you think that they're just 50 games older than the last time they've been there?
Possibly.
You know what I mean? So now
Possibly.
Reece Walsh is getting older. He's still a bit wet.
But whatever Madge did, Gordy, you have to concede.
Do you think Kevin Walters could have
working.
done it?
Would have done what Madge has done this year? Oh, look, it's a hypothetical.
I think
can't
what
answer
you're
that.
saying, though, is a valid point in that 2 years ago, the maturity of the Broncos team was very different to what it is now. You know what I mean? And last year there were a lot of injuries, and Kevy did leave a great squad behind, but that you still can't deny what Madge has done is bloody incredible.
Yeah.
And it is a good squad.
Yeah, that's a great squad. Now, what about Madge and Bellyache? Is there any rivalry or history between...
Well, there is history. There was history early on. I think it was 2013, and it's going back over old ground because they get on well now, apparently. But there was history.
Get on with.
I think there was a
coaches
story.
don't like each other.
Madge had the
Do they?
shits with a story that got leaked, and I think at the time there was an accusation that it may have come from Melbourne, how South of him had employed a jiu-jitsu coach. And Bellamy took offence to that because he didn't, and there was a heated exchange, and my understanding is it got pretty lively. But soon after that, Bellamy put it to bed. He came out and said it's all good. They've been mates since, and I don't think there's any drama ongoing. I do find it interesting, though, that we spend so much time analysing Madge's spew bucket coaching style, yet there's not a tougher coach in the game than Craig Bellamy, who just has this way of getting his team up year on, year on, year on.
Who traditionally has an army camp every single year.
No one trains a team harder than Bellamy, but for some reason, he's seen as the master for doing it. Poor old Madge goes the other way.
Bellyache sends his new recruits to work for a couple of weeks before every year. They're out in the tools for 4 weeks. So that's really rolling the sleeves up and being taught what a honest, long day's work really is. Good on him.
All right, what about Adam Reynolds? He's coming up on the show a little later. If he wins the grand final, where does he rate or sit amongst Broncos recruits?
I was thinking about it today, and you go back to the early days of the Broncos when they had to recruit basically a whole side, and you had the likes of Wally Lewis, Gene Miles, Gordy, Alfie, Kevy, all these great players come. But of the NRL era, I can't think of a person that's come as an established player. We're not talking about young recruits like the Lockyers and the Payne Haasses. But of the NRL era, I think...
after that, 98.
Yeah, I think after 98, Reynolds, 2 grand finals, 4 years.
If he wins, you're saying?
I think I think he's hard to beat as it is.
Really?
The fact that he's... Can you think of any others? I can't. I can't think of a guy that's had a bigger impact on the Broncos in that period.
They've got a lot of talent coming through, but and they haven't...
That came as an established star.
And haven't gone, like they haven't had to go and buy a lot of players, but it'd be like Lazarus, probably Gilmoss had come back, and Adam Reynolds would be another
Well, they
one.
haven't, Gordy.
Mate, because they've never had to go outside the farm. They've had a lot of kids coming through.
And I thought this moment was one of the bravest that you've ever seen, because as he lined up that shot and he's taken, like Reece Walsh has missed the goals and he's handed the ball over to Adam, every single person that's watching that is thinking, oh, mate, I hope you get this, given what happened at South Sydney in 2021. Imagine the thought that was going through his mind at that stage. Imagine the pressure. And he stepped up and he took it.
It was on his bad side too, wasn't it? Where Reece is the left foot, it would have been on his good side. So Renault's actually showing more courage by saying, I'll take it even though it's not on my good side. Look, he's been in 2 grand finals in 4 years now.
Yeah.
His success rate up there is 60%. That's pretty handy. I mean, Reynolds would have known going to Brisbane, though, he's going into a very good football side. Having said that, 60%, that is a very, very good ratio.
And Doggy, he started the Panthers dynasty and now he's ended it, right?
Yeah, it's ironic.
Do you think he has ended the dynasty?
Well, firstly, when you say he started and ended it, this is the kick you're referring to, Braith. It was
that's
Penrith
exactly right,
in
Bulldog.
2021, and he pushed it to the right there. So Penrith
Could
won
have
by
locked
2
the game,
points.
77th minute.
Penrith won by 2 points. It started their dynasty, and of course he ended it last weekend with another sideline kick up there.
Is it just
Suncorp.
ending the streak, not the dynasty?
For sure.
That's what I'm asking.
It's words, Gordy. Look, to me, a dynasty is a streak. If you lose, you have ended the dynasty.
Yep.
When New South Wales beat Queensland in 2014, the dynasty ended.
Just
they
project-
bounced back to start another dynasty, and Penrith may well do that. But for me, the dynasty technically is over.
No. Doesn't work like that. He played for a team called the Broncos that won 92, 93, then won 97, 98,
2000.
and then 2000.
Well, how many years
for mine,
do you
that's
span?
the Broncos dynasty
Well, that's
of that
10
era.
years.
Canberra was the same, mate. They had an interruption during their run and then they came back in 94. I think the dynasty goes on. I think Ivan got it spot on with his assessment after the game that this is not the end of the dynasty. I'll guarantee you one thing, Penrith won't be sitting last after 12 rounds next year.
No way.
And Nathan Cleary, is he 27 years of age? Like, mate, it's the champion playmakers over the course of our game's history play their best football after that age.
And Dog,
Look
I'm
out.
loving you. It's about time you picked on a New South Wales team. I'm loving
I'm not
it.
picking on them.
Oh, no,
I'm not picking on them at all.
I can't believe you put a line through him for next year. It's incredible.
That's
Already.
Mate.
Define the word dynasty then. If they lose next year...
We just did.
Well, if they lose next year, they don't win it. Is that the end of the dynasty?
Oh, no. As I
How
said
far
about
do you
the
wanna go?
Broncos,
You
mate,
wanna
a
go 10
dynasty,
years?
a dynasty is these group of players. Why
When they
Cleary's
all
in that
retire,
team?
when Nathan Cleary and all those guys
Isaiah
retire.
Young's
in
in that team
2035
and
then.
There you
Liam
go.
Martin and
Thank
Dylan
you.
Edwards. That's their era.
That's the end.
Okay, I remember that. I'll jot it down in my diary.
You should.
Dynasty ends 2035.
Today's breaking news, thanks to BYD Shark 6, Lewis Dodd has been released by the Rabbitohs, effective immediately.
Yeah, well, going back to Adam Reynolds again, God. You know, South let him go at the end of 2021, and we've spoken about it chapter and verse over the last few years, but it just reinforces what a rotten decision it was to let Reynolds go at that time. There was question marks about his body and him training in a pimp bib and not being able to last. And 4 years down the track, 2 grand finals, this poor bugger's come over from England and it just hasn't worked out for him. It's been an unfortunate buy for the club. I'm glad that he goes back home and he finds a future, but Souths are still looking for the answer.
I feel sorry for the
I do
young
too.
bloke. 12 New South Wales Cup games, 6 NRL, but of those 6, only 1 was a starting halfback, which is his preferred position. I don't know who signed him. No one's come forward to say it, but I will say this:
What a good signing.
Wayne Bennett wasn't coaching South at the time, but he had been appointed South Sydney coach. You cannot tell me that he was bought for $800,000 a year and they did not consult Wayne Bennett, who was coming in the following year as coach. So Wayne would have had to have given it some form of approval.
I think the situation was the deal had pretty much been done, and Wayne took their advice and said, that's what you've done, that's what you've done. I don't think he was the one that recruited Lewis Dodd.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident I'm right in saying that.
I've heard the same thing.
And you know, Doggy, like, you know, the fact that people are still trying to push the blame this way and this way shows that no one's taken ownership of it, and they probably do owe an explanation, because this kid has gone back with his reputation intact. And I don't hold it against Bennett not picking him too. Like, if mate, you've got to pick your best
But we
side.
never
It's
got
not,
to-
it's
we
not a
never got a
charity
chance.
contest.
Hey, Doggy.
We never got a chance to see it.
Did you watch any games at all?
But Braith, I watched the New South Wales Cup game. You know what? You're playing with New South Wales
Did
Cup
you see him in
players.
first grade, Doggy?
He struggled, but
Well,
Braith,
how
he
many-
wasn't
how
given
many-
much of a chance.
Do you reckon?
One game in his preferred position. Do you think that's a fair
So
crack?
one of the greatest coaches in the history, if not the greatest, he gave him a few chances and obviously worked out he's not there.
Look, whether he's up to it or not,
he's not going to keep playing him just to appease everyone else or him to give him opportunity.
I just
it's
feel-
first grade rugby
You
league.
go back to the start of the
young
season,
bloke
though.
just didn't get a chance.
Mate, you go back to the start of the season, right? In the Charity Shield it was. Humphrey starts on the bench. Dodd starts the game. They had that sin bin at the time where they could go back retrospectively, and he got taken off for the second half. That's when South started clicking. You can't then go and drop Humphreys, and then this guy's gone back to New South Wales Cup. I think he got an injury after that.
Yeah.
But, mate, he just didn't fire. Like, you can't blame the coach. It's a recruitment decision that has really gone belly up.
Right, it's time for everyone to move on. Peter V'landys has today shut down concerns over R360 as speculation over the breakaway rugby competition continues.
Anything that doesn't have a business model or a financer or a backer, you can't take seriously. The clubs want the NRL to take some pretty harsh action, and we're considering it because, look, they're wasting their time with this one, but there's probably going to be one in the future. And who's to say that they're not using this NRL 360, what is it called? R360 as just a stalking horse to get more money. If you've got a contract with the NRL, we expect you to honour it, you know, and if you don't, there's going to be consequences.
NRL 360, no. R360, Peter. How good is he when he does that? And he does it with the AFL. What does he call the AFL anyway? This is interesting because there has been rumours around Pappenhausen. Nelson Asafa-Solomona I've heard as well, and I've been doing a bit of digging lately around this and talking to people close to R360. And I heard a rumour today from those people, and this is pure speculation, but what I'm hearing is that Zach Lomax is about to sign a deal with them, and there is a big chance that he's played his last game for Parramatta. Now that, as I said, it's pure speculation. I've heard it from someone close to R360. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's something that we've got to keep an eye on here because I believe this is starting to get serious. You know, there are rumours around Pappenhausen, there's rumours around Big Nelson I've heard, but this one was the strongest I'd heard yet. Yeah.
RTS, dry grey. Like, you can't ignore that there is a threat there. And if it comes to fruition and you had a player, and again, it's speculation about Lomax, but if you had a player that walked out on a current NRL contract, I would like to think the game, drew a line in the sand and says, that's fine, mate. Go and play this, and I hope you have a really good time because you're not coming back to our game. You can't break a contract. If a deal was up and it was
are off
RTS,
contract.
if it was
Lomax is
RTS, like Roger,
but
and
they're
he's off contract, no
That's
dramas.
fine.
No dramas whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
a free world, you know what I mean? But if you're going to break a contract,
The last guy to do this
You don't
was
come
probably
back.
Sonny Bill Williams when he went to France. Didn't he have to pay the Bulldogs?
he did.
So would that be the same situation here?
Look, I think because it is a threat, and we wait to see how big a threat. You know what I mean? But I think we have a great game here, and we have so much talent out there looking for an opportunity. I think we can live without one or two players. But if they're breaking contracts, don't let them back.
It is a tough one because the players, you can't begrudge them for earning double their wage. Just like live golf, you know. It's such a big temptation.
You can though if there's a contract in place. Like wait till your contract is finished and then go.
Yeah. What about compensation? If the clubs are willing to be compensated by R360,
Makes them expensive players.
because these guys don't care about money. I mean, if you talk about, you look at, I refer it to Live Golf. They don't care about money. You know, I mean, where do you see Live Golf? You got to go on 7 Mate to even watch it. Like you can barely, it's barely visible. It's not about TV rights deals, and these guys, it's about something a lot bigger.
If you tell me though, Braith, you're a manager. Do you see this as a genuine threat to our game, or taking quality players?
I didn't until recently when the noise is starting to get louder, and I'm starting to hear the players are, signing non-disclosures and all that sort of thing at the moment. So I'm starting to worry about it a bit. We've got the greatest game in the world. I'm not worried about our game. Our game will survive anything, which we've shown that. Look at it right now. If we lose a few big guns, who cares? We move on. Like, we've got so many talented players in our competition, and the brand is so strong right now. I don't think it's... Because it's rugby union anyway, so they're only going to take a handful of league players. We will survive.
We've had it though. If we do lose Zach Lomax, and if your mail is right, Braith, that's a big loss. He is a genuine rugby league star. He's a state of origin player. He'll go on the Kangaroo Tour, or he was going on the Kangaroo Tour. I guess whether he is picked may well, Braith, determine on whether
Well, it depends. This is all like
it's all speculation. I get that, but it's something we have to keep monitoring. But I'm with you, Crawls. If they break a contract, it's disrespecting the game of rugby league. Go and earn your money, but you're not welcome back. There's a line in the sand. You are barred for life.
You go back over time too.
If you break the contract.
We've lost some pretty good players over the years. Gordon, Wendell Saylor, Lottie Takiri, Israel Folau, Carmichael Hunt,
Sonny Bill.
Sawali last year. You know what I mean? The game goes on. We don't. Someone goes, someone replaces them. That's not a drama. It's the contract situation, and you've got to stand for something.
Yeah, we do. All right, up next we cross live to Adam Reynolds, and tomorrow Australia face New Zealand in the first T20. You can catch all the action live from 4 p.m. on Fox Cricket.
boot of Adam Reynolds.
Well, you want to go back to the grand final with South Sydney. When you're talking about your redemption, he had it on the left touchline. He now steps up on the right touchline. One of the great kickers in game number 308. Here we go. A whole band of fans on his right boot. Reynolds kicks it, take a bow. Brisbane in front with 3 to go.
Welcome back. That was Adam Reynolds making his mark thanks to Steel Blue Boots. And the Broncos captain joins us now. Reno, thanks for joining us. We just watched it, that kick on the weekend. Talk us through it step by step.
Yeah, obviously scored in the corner there and the crowd was going crazy. It was so loud. So I knew I had to just, get away from the group for a moment there, compose myself and just go through the routine. I've been through it a number of times throughout practice and, good to put it into practice and see it go through the post.
Who made the decision for you to take it?
Walshy missed that one from beside the post. So, he was pretty fatigued at the time. So, I was pretty confident. I was hitting them nice in the warm-up. So I was more than happy to take it. Good on him to pass it on, I think. As a young kid and, a bright future, you want those moments in your hands. And for him to be honest and say that he wasn't feeling the best at that stage and hand it over was, credit to him.
Hey, Adam, it's Dean Ritchie. The truth, did you have a fleeting thought of that kick in 21 that you missed? Would you line this one up to try to give yourself some sort of personal redemption?
Not really. I think, you learn from those mistakes in the past, and, I started this one a bit more straighter. I remember listening to some commentary about when you do get in those moments and the heart's pumping, and, the kick doesn't usually bend or curve as much as it usually does. So, I've practiced those moments over and over again since that happened, and, I knew if I got my shot again, I'd put my hand up and have the confidence to take it.
Reno, Paul Crawley here, mate. We've talked about it all season. Take us back to pre-season. How hard was it? Like, you were under Madge at South, so you knew what to expect. Do you think your pre-season this year, firstly, caught a few of your teammates by surprise? And secondly, when we look at the last 2 weeks, mate, and the fact that you guys have come back from 14 points in both those finals matches, do you think it's come home to roost now?
Yeah, well, I think pre-season set you up for the back end of the season, and the evidence is there, obviously, through, the last couple of weeks of football. The boys have been storming home strongly. I haven't been out there for all of the games, but, last couple of rounds, the first final against Canberra and again on the weekend. Pre-season's always tough, no matter who the coach is.
Was it tougher than usual?
For, the old days and whatnot. But, I believe in tough pre-season set you up for a great season, so I knew it was coming. Unfortunately for my teammates, they just heard and didn't know what to expect. But look, everyone bought in and, reaping the rewards now.
Hey, Adam, it's Gordy. How much confidence did that win over Melbourne a couple of weeks ago give you? Not too many sides have a good record against Melbourne, but did that give you guys a bit of confidence for this Sunday?
Yeah, Gordy, I think everyone gets a lot of belief out of that game. They had a lot of ball against us that night as well, and defence was at the forefront of the reason why we got the victory. So no doubt we're going to need to call upon that defence. Come Sunday, I thought our defence on the weekend against Penrith was magnificent. Turned them away a number of times on our try line, and to go up the other end and score some points off the back of that's always rewarding. But we certainly need to be a lot better defensively. Sunday, we know they're going to throw a lot at us. They've got some big game players and blokes that love the big stage.
Reno, when you're at South, I would imagine that Sam Burgess was the best forward that you played with. Where do you rate Payne Haas now, given the form he's in?
Yeah, he's right up there amongst the best. It's unbelievable what Payne does on a field. The engine that he's got, he keeps motoring. No matter what you need from him, he's always there to put his hand up and get the job done. And it's not just that stuff that you see, the hit-ups, the making the tackles and whatnot. It's the effort areas that he, the kick chase, pressuring the kickers, diving on loose balls that go in the end zone off a kick. Front rowers just don't do that. So to see him continually turn up in places that he shouldn't be in, it's quite inspiring to his teammates.
Hey, Reno, big Stefano Utoikamanu had something to say. I don't know whether players watch the media these days, but who was he talking about? Was it Big Payne? Because that's going to be a mouth-watering clash if he was.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I thought they were good mates in Origin. So, look, it all goes out the window. Obviously, both teams will be doing their best to put each other off, and whether that's just games early on in the week, I'm not too sure. But from all reports, he's a good fella. But yeah, come game day, there's no friends out there.
Adam, I want to ask you about Reece Walsh. His form over the back end of the season, it's gone from being a little bit rocks and diamonds. He played that game against Melbourne and he basically didn't make a mistake. And ever since, he seems to have grown in belief. But on the weekend, the Panthers did such a great job minimising his impact until that one moment where it was like he bit on the mouth guard, he pinned his ears back, he ran through 3 defenders and got that miracle pass away. It was such a courageous and tough play. Talk about what sort of bloke this guy is.
Yeah, he's special. He keeps delivering for us, Walshy. Look, he's such a threat with the ball. We all know that. We see all the spectacular things that he does. For me, it's the little things he does, organising our D-line. His kicking game's probably up there with the best. you know, he's just in some rare form at the moment. So anytime we can sort of get him into the game and, you know, get the opposition moving backwards on the heels, he's going to be a threat. But yeah, obviously, these tougher games, you know, it's harder to break the opposition down. I mean, Penrith are a fantastic defensive unit, and we knew it was going to be tough to crack them. So, you know, we needed to keep throwing different things at them and keep giving them different looks. And credit to Walshy, he stuck at it and, you know, didn't go away from what was working.
Speaking of opposition, the Melbourne Storm this week, Reno, their spine were on fire on the weekend. Where's their biggest threat come from and how do you stop it?
Yeah, I think their spine. I mean, Harry Grant's arguably the best hooker in the game. You know, Cameron Munster's the best big player in the game. Jerome Hughes is unbelievable, coming off a magnificent season. You know, they got strike right across the park. Pappenhausen, I forgot about him. But look, they've got strike right across the park. Their forward pack's elite. Their outside back's big and strong, and a world-class spine. So, yeah, they've got all the makings of a great team. I believe we do as well. So, yeah, it makes for a great game on Sunday.
Reno, you came back from 14-0 down in week 1 against the Raiders. 14 points down, rather. 14 points down again in the prelim. Gee, I reckon if you go 14 down again this week, you might not have that same luxury of being able to come back. Is there a factor there that you have to fix and fix quickly?
Not necessarily. I believe in the team we've got, you know, the belief we've got in amongst each other. We think, you know, the game's not over until it's over, and we've showed that over the past couple of weeks, albeit we don't want to be down by 14 or 16 or whatever it may be. You know, it's handy going through those moments, knowing that we can come back and get the job done, but certainly we need to be at our best, obviously against the Melbourne Storm. They're red hot. You know, they've been and played in big games and no doubt, you know, have the experience there. So we need to start a bit faster this weekend, you know, get into our groove a bit earlier and hopefully, you know, get some points on the board first.
Good on you, Adam. Congratulations on last week's game and that moment and getting to the grand final. We appreciate you coming on the show grand final week and good luck this weekend.
No worries. Cheers, fellas.
What a legend he is and what a moment he come up to. Now, well, Payne Haas did get the chance to respond to Stefano Utoikamanu. Take a look.
Stefano Utoikamanu has said that the Broncos are an arrogant club this morning.
There's going to be a lot of people I want to run at. There's a lot of people I don't like in this team. Yeah, there's a lot of people I think, you know, they're a bit, you know, stuck up.
Do you have a response to that?
No, not really, mate. I don't really care what they say, to be honest. It is what it is. They can say what they want. We'll just focus on ourselves and worry about our own preparation. And when Sunday comes around, we'll see about that.
Crawls. Did you do an article? You called him humble. You called him humble yesterday morning.
I thought he was extraordinary on Friday night, and then after the game, the question was put to him about the fact that he'd filled the missing piece in the Storm, and I loved the way that he'd come out and basically said, you know, I don't know about me being the missing piece. I went down here to work hard and do my job, and I thought, what a wonderful thing. And then he's come out and called him stuck up. You know what though? It was such an honest. When he said it, it's not vindictive. It's just a big fella who probably is too close to the truth. And a lot of people out there think the Broncos, there is a little bit of arrogance about it. Stefano might have been speaking for a few of us.
What do you reckon, Gordy? Are you stuck
mate,
up?
I've had it too, mate. I've had foot and mouth disease before. So no, I actually like it.
Stuck up?
No, do you know what? I actually thought the Broncos were. No, here we go. The truth is, I thought that they were when I was playing at the Dragons. When you got there, it was the hardest working group of men. So there is a confidence which people thought were arrogant.
Stefano can say what he likes, and I think it's terrific that he's thrown a couple of taunts out there. However, you got to back it up, and that's the key.
His game does back it up, though,
Exactly.
Dolly.
Bulldog, very wise words from you.
Thank you, Bill.
Stick around, Journo's up next week. Cross to Frank Ponissi. And tomorrow, following NRL 360, it's the 2025 Dally M Awards live and exclusive on Fox League. Welcome back. Let's cross live now to Melbourne, where Storm General Manager of Football Frank Ponissi joins us. Frank, thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy week, grand final week, but your guys had a great win against the Cronulla Sharks. Do you feel like you're peaking just at the right time?
Yeah, g'day, Braith. Now, certainly the last two games, the two finals, we've been really pleased. They've been true semi-finals. We've had to work hard, both against the Bulldogs in the first final and again the other night against the Sharks. So I think that really holds some good stead. Those last two games, home and away, especially the Roosters and the Broncos games, we lost our way in defence, and that's something that the coaches and the players have worked really hard to get that mongrel back in our defence, and we've shown that in the last two performances.
Hey, Frank, it's Gordy Tallis here. Congratulations on making another grand final. You guys have been in a lot of big games. After your game, you guys looked like it was just about business, walked off. Brisbane were excited, celebrated a little bit. Have you seen a change in your players?
No, Gordy, probably weren't as excited maybe as the Broncos, given probably the nature of their comeback. But I can guarantee you, we treat every grand final that we're fortunate to be in like it's our first, and really enjoy that moment after the game. It was really special being out in the field with the players and the families and the staff, and we also treat it like it could be our last. So enjoy the week, embrace it, and give it our best shot. So it might not have the same, feeling as the Broncos showed given the circumstances, but I can tell you the players were really pleased and feel grateful to have been in a grand final.
Frank, you had a relationship with Madge last year in State of Origin. How do you find Madge as a coach compared to Craig?
Bulldog, there's certainly similarities, but they've also got the differences, and that's the beauty of coaches. The pleasure of working with Madge down here for a couple of years when I first arrived to Melbourne, and the last year I had with Madge at Origin was wonderful as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's definitely similarities, but I really enjoyed my time, and so I have not been surprised whatsoever in the way that the Broncos have gone this year. So, they've been a threat from day one, I believe. They had their ups and downs like we all have this year, but, they're certainly coming good at the right time of the year.
Frank, Paul Crawley here, mate. Let's get to the elephant in the room. Big Stefano's stuck-up comment at the Broncos. What was Craig's reaction?
Well, Crawls, yesterday morning before the media day started, if you said one of your players is going to make a fairly controversial comment, you've got to rank your players 1 to 17. I'd have Munster at number 1, and then I'd have Stefano at 17. It shocked all of us. It's he's such a quiet, gentle man who walks around training, and around the club doesn't say too much. He was same in Origin. I don't think he spoke in Origin. So for him to come out, that kind of shocked us all. I was the one that had to tell Craig, which it was an interesting reaction when I first told Craig. But look, we back him. He's a wonderful player for us. He's been in incredible form since Origin. He's really leading the way, and he knows that he makes those comments. He's got to stand by him. So it's probably been blown a little bit bigger than it is, but it's grand final week, so we'll roll with the punches.
Yeah. Frank, in all your Storm premierships, you haven't won one when Cam Smith wasn't there. Does it motivate you and Craig and the club itself to win one without Cam?
Bulldog, I wouldn't say motivates us, but to do something, without the big three. I mean, it was for a long time. There was a belief outside these four walls here that we couldn't do it without the big three, and then it was about Cameron. So, we've got awfully close since Cameron left. I mean, 2021 was a remarkable season. We won a record 20 consecutive games and fell short in the prelim to a very good team called Penrith. And it's interesting, Penrith have beaten us in the last game 3 of the last 4 years. So, this is a great opportunity. Harry Grant is a completely different player and a different captain to Smithy, but he's a wonderful leader as well, and he's a wonderful player. So it would be a great recognition for the club. But, certainly we don't forget, what Cameron and those, other players have built for the boys to be in this position this Sunday.
Yeah, Frank, you just mentioned Penrith. What did the boys learn from last year's loss to the Panthers?
Yeah, it's a great question, Gordy, and it's something we addressed probably straight after the game last year. It was for 15, I think it was 13 of our players. It was their first grand final last year. So not just the game, as you know, Gordy, it's the week. If you don't embrace the week and it can affect your preparation, can affect your performances. And some players it did. They were probably, taken back by just the intensity of the week, the build-up and all the commitments that required. So we discussed that. And the game itself, that Penrith probably taught us a lesson in that game. We only got beaten 14-6, but they just didn't give us, any chances. They just stuck to their game plan, and we probably panicked at times and tried to look for those big plays. So, we're certainly taking our learnings from that game, and we certainly just haven't looked at the learnings this week. We looked at them in pre-season and tried to improve an area. So, but having that experience last year is vital for us. But having said that, the Broncos, a lot of their players were in the same position 2 years ago. So I'm sure they've learnt a lot as well.
There was a lot of talk about Jerome Hughes last week, mate, and, you know, was it a risk bringing him back to, 22 days after suffering that fracture in his arm? Tell us about, were you guys concerned? And then to watch him go out and play the way he did shows what a champion he was, or he is.
We had a very high opinion of Jerome before that, Crawls, but it went to another level last Friday night, to be brutally honest. I mean, you know, when he did his shoulder badly against the Roosters, you know, early August, I think it was, we thought that was it for the year. He came back 5 weeks later, lasted 25 minutes and broke his forearm. So he went into last Friday night's game basically 25 minutes of footy in 8 weeks, and he was going into a prelim against a very good opposition. He not just, you know, just was out there. He played really well, and the difference he made to our team, and, you know, the combination he's got, especially with Cameron Munster, was a big factor. And yes, there was a risk, of course, at whatever how big or slight that risk was, but it was a risk we knew we had to take. He's such an important part of this football team, and as I said, that performance last week was quite extraordinary in such a big game.
Yeah, it certainly was an incredible performance by Jerome and your team. Yet again, the powerhouse of the Melbourne Storm continues, and good luck this week, Frank.
Thanks, boys.
Now, before we go, Dog, your obsession with Cleary and Mary Fowler.
No obsession, but it's of interest to the wider public, not just me.
Did she do a catwalk?
Apparently so.
Today. Oh, apparently, or yes?
Oh, I read. Well, there you go.
Oh, this is the footage you brought us.
Yeah,
okay.
This is what, there you go. There's Mary.
So
looking, you know, lovely, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
So
do you still think he's moving over there?
Well, now that there's no premiership ring for Nathan, do you think there might be hang on, I haven't finished it. Do you think there might be an engagement ring? I'm just throwing it out there.
On the Ashes tour, maybe.
Maybe.
Now,
it had a really romantic touch to Gordon's tour.
You scrape the bottom of the barrel every week.
And that's it for you this year.
I'm done.
Doggy,
What a way to finish,
can I just
Dog.
say you save the best till last?
You know what? Before I go, Braith, I've got to ask you a question.
Here we go.
Your hair is in perfect alignment
what are you
with
getting out
every hair follicle.
Yeah.
This is a comb, Gordon. You wouldn't know about a comb. But can you help me? Because I want my hair to look just like yours.
Well, you need more hair.
Well, I can let it grow.
Because you're getting a bit of Devon there.
Because that is the perfect set of hair. Here you go.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
You think you want a T-bird?
Just give me a little
See you
whack
later,
across.
mate. See you next year. You've had enough. Tonight, following NRL 360 Australia Hadley's face-to-face with Matty Johns. Welcome back. Before we go, an important message from the NRL: fans should only use authorised vendors for grand final tickets. Ticketek Marketplace is the NRL's official ticket resale platform. Gordy, you got to be careful of that, aren't you?
Absolutely, because they're hard to get. Go to the right spot.
All right, that's it for NRL 360 for tonight. Now it's time for Ray Hadley's Face to Face.